Hello my lovelies and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, say hi in the comments and welcome. I am going to be making a couple of borders today, border patterns. So I'm going to start off by making a slip knot and bobbing my hook in, pulling it tight. And then I'm going to attach it to my work. So I'm just going to be working on a typical granny square here to show you how to do a border. You can use these borders on any kind of blankets that you make, on any of the blanket patterns that I have up on my channel as well. So let's get started. So we're going to just attach our yarn into a corner space and we're going to flip that over so that we're working over it, so we don't have to work in any of the ends at the end. We're going to chain up one, and the first thing we do for any sort of border that I like to do personally is just do a single crochet row all the way around, and that way it just gives us a nice base to work off. So I'm going to do that. So I'm just going to, in each of the corner spaces, I'm going to put 3 single crochets. So I'm going to pop that in here. So 1, 2 and 3, just like so. And then I'm going to put a single crochet in every single stitch across. Now on most blankets you'll have one edge which has the nice kind of stitches where you've just finished working. Then you'll have the edges which are a bit more difficult, and you just have to space out the single crochets nice and evenly all the way down. So for a double crochet, if I was working into a double crochet, I'd put 2 single crochets into it. If I was working into a single crochet row, I would put 1 single crochet into it. If I was working into a treble crochet, I would put 3 single crochets into it, just so I get the height for each one. And that would be how I'd work along the edges. But for now, I'm just going to put 1 single crochet in each of these around. Now when you're making your borders, if you are doing the single crochet and you want to have a different colour kind of border for your pattern, so if you've made a blanket all of one colour, I would recommend using the same colour as the blanket for your first round of single crochets, just so that it makes it nice and neat, have a nice base to start off. If you've got a different colour throughout your pattern, like I normally do, so I normally have say a section of red, blue, orange, or whatever colours you're using, then use a kind of standard colour to go around all of them. I like using white or cream. Sometimes I'll use one of the colours that I've used in the blanket as well. It just depends on what kind of look you're going for. So our single crochet is into the stitch, yarn over the hook, pull up a loop, yarn over and through 2. I have a video on how to do a chain, a single crochet and all that lovely stuff, and I'll pop that up here for you. So in the corner again, we're going to put 3, 1, 2 and 3, and then we're going to turn our work and carry on working. Okay, so onto our second row. So we've slip stitched to join. We're going to chain up 1 and put a single crochet into that first stitch, as the chain 1 doesn't count as a stitch. Then we've got our middle of our corner stitch there, so we're going to put 3 single crochets into that corner stitch. And 3, there we go. And then we've got the rest of our row, which will be 1 single crochet in each until we get to the corner stitch again. Okay, so now we're at our next corner. So we've got 1, 2, 3, which is from our previous round. And we're going to put 1 single crochet into that first, and then 3 single crochets into the middle stitch. So 1 single crochet into here, and then 3 single crochets into the middle stitch to make our corner for our new round. And then throughout the rest of this, we're just going to continue doing exactly the same. So 3 single crochets into the middle stitch of each of our corners and 1 single crochet into each of the rest of them until you get to the other end, and then you'll slip stitch to join. Okay, so I'm just finishing up this round and I'm going to slip stitch to the first single crochet. So we've got our chain 1 here, then our first single crochet. So we're going to slip stitch into there, pull that tight, and we're just going to repeat that round for as many rounds as we'd like. So it depends on how thick you want your border to be. I'm going to continue it for just one more round. So I'm going to chain 1 and then I'm going to put a single crochet into that first stitch because the chain 1 doesn't count as our stitch. And then we're going to be at our corner, so we've got our 3 single crochets in each corner. So the first single crochet, we've got one here, 2 and then 3. So we're going to put 1 single crochet into the first and 3 into that middle one. So 1 single crochet into the first stitch and then 3 single crochets to create our corner into the next. And then exactly the same as the previous round, so you can pause the video, you can go back to the previous round as well, and you can continue working from that one if you'd like. But then we're just going to put 1 single crochet in each of the stitches across until we get to the next corner, and then we're going to put the 3 single crochets into there. So we're going to, if you want to, you can always pop in a stitch marker into that middle single crochet of each corner just so you can see which one's the middle one. It makes it a bit easier for beginners as well. But yeah, so as you can see directly above, you're going to go straight up and that's going to be your middle stitch. So I'm going to continue working this round, and remember to pause the video if you need to catch up, or rewind if you need to get back to where you need to be, and I will see you back at the end of this round. Okay, so now I've slip stitched to join and completed that third row of single crochets for our border. I'm going to chain 1, and now is where you can start doing the more intricate design on the edge of your border. So for this edge, I'm just going to keep it as a standard single crochet edge like it is at the moment, and I'm going to just put 1 single crochet into that same stitch as the chain 1. We can see we've got our corner stitches here, so I'm going to grab a stitch marker and just pop that into the middle of my corner there, and that's exactly how you would have it if you were using stitch markers. I don't use stitch markers an awful lot, but they are very, very handy for beginners. So I'm just going to keep this as a standard single crochet row, so I'm going to put 1 single crochet in each of the next 2. So we've got 1 there and another one there, and now we're at our corner space, so we're going to pop in 3 single crochets into that corner as per usual. And if you're using your stitch marker, you can pop in the stitch marker into the second stitch from your hook. I'm going to leave that off for now though. Okay, so our next border option here, we're going to put a single crochet, and I'm going to show you how to do the Pico border. So we're going to chain up 2, 1 and 2, and we're going to go into the middle of the top of our stitch. So as you can see here, that's the top, and we're going to go through that and right through to the other side, to the bottom of the stitch. We're going to yarn over, bring that through and slip stitch through the loop on our hook, and then we're going to put 1 single crochet into each of the next 2. So 1 and 2, and there you can see it as our little picot made. We're just going to repeat that all the way down, so we're going to chain up 2 again to make our picot, go into the center of the top of our stitch, so in through the top center all the way to the bottom center, yarn over and slip stitch through, then 2 single crochets, 1 and 2, and then a picot again. So you just repeat that all the way down. So you do the picot, 2 single crochets, picot, 2 single crochets until you get to the other corner. I'll just do that one more time for you. So you chain up 2 into the center, top center of our stitch to the bottom center and slip stitch through. Then 2 single crochets. So repeat that until you get to the other side, and I'll meet you when we get there. Okay, so now I've got to the end here. I've put my 2 single crochets in, and I'm just going to put one more picot stitch into here. So I'm going to chain up 2, make my picot through the center of that single crochet, and then I've got 1 stitch left here, so I'm going to put a single crochet. Now you have the option here, because obviously we've got our corner stitch, you can do what I'm doing, which is pop 3 single crochets into that corner stitch, or you can put 1 single crochet, then a picot, then another single crochet, which would give it that corner picot that some people will look for in their blankets. But as I'm going to be showing you a different pattern on the other side, I'm going to just put 3 single crochets. And of course, you can always pull up your little picot points as well if you want to make them look a bit more pointy. It depends on what kind of look you're going for. Okay, so moving on to our next side, we're going to be doing the frilly side. So I'm going to do a single crochet into this next stitch, and then I'm going to continue by working slip stitches and chain 1. So we're going to chain 1, we're going to slip stitch into the next stitch. Remember to do this quite loosely because we don't want to pull too tight on it. Chain 1, slip stitch into the next stitch, and then chain 1. And remember, keep it nice and loose, and you can always use a bigger hook if you prefer as well to keep it loose. So we've got our chain 1 with slip stitching, and then we chain 1 and slip stitch, and it is as simple as that, and it gives such a beautiful texture to the edges of our blankets. So chain 1 and slip stitch, and that is continuing all the way around. You've got this kind of like little zigzaggy kind of wavy pattern on the edge, and it just looks very, very pretty. So continue that all the way down.